There's a bunch of issues on specific things like meat is being affected by a drought from like 4 or 5 years ago. But
CBC just got a raise. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we got more mainstream media nonsense. David Cochrane defending Mark Carney as usual. More wasteful spending. We've got Steve Outhouse goes on CTV. Good interview with Vasi Kapelos. We're learning where the Conservatives are going to be going with the next election campaign. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, what do we got here from Blacklock's reporter? We got Conservative Chris Workington. Feds confirm pro-Castro talk. Farm Credit Canada confirms its $458,000 a year CEO that we pay for in a speech to staff praised Fidel Castro as an impressive and visionary leader. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's alarms going off because this is alarming. The Crown Bank had no comment on remarks by Justine Hendricks, who also praised Communist Party management of Cuba. It's Fidel Castro. There's all sorts of aspects of Fidel Castro. We're paying a communist $458,000 a year. As Chris points out here, every farmer and Canadian should be alarmed. Does the Liberal Party support her admiration of Castro's communist ideals, or will they condemn this? They'll probably throw her a parade. Moving ahead, we've got Bradshaw posting this. Top revenue companies in Canada for 2025, and well, it's Brookfield number one. Of course it is. $76 billion, and they can't pay their $5 billion in taxes. Said they just shuttle all their money over to the Cayman Islands or Bermuda and dodge their taxes. Mark Carney helped them set that up, and Canadians seem to be okay with that. 43% of Canadians are okay with that, allowing our Prime Minister to help the top revenue corporation here dodge taxes. It doesn't sit well with me. Moving ahead, what do we got? The CBC getting more money. That's right. Mark Carney, despite telling executives that they need to make cuts to the CBC, he just gave them $1.4 billion of our money. They went up from 1.3 to $1.4 billion, another $100 million bucks. Get ready for some fresh propaganda from the CBC. Next up, we need to have a good laugh here. This clip is unbelievable. This is from the Parliamentary Press Gallery dinner back in November. Nobody put this clip up. Nobody saw this. I can't believe this just flew under the radar. I haven't seen this clip ever posted. Good job on Canada Proud finding this. So I went and found the source. I wanted to see this in its full glory. This is unbelievable. The host here just absolutely destroying Mark Carney.
I have to say, I'm happy to see you here, Prime Minister. I'm happy to see you, Prime Minister. I'm very happy to see you. But I do find it a tad unnerving. Think about it. You went to see the Oilers. They lost. You went to see the Jays. They lost. You did the toss.
He's hitting Carney right in the heart here. This guy loves sports.
You went to see the rugby game in the UK. They lost. You went to the White House. We lost. Don't you think the media lost enough journalists already? Guys, it's like with the Brexit. The Carney curse is real.
That's wild. Look at his body language. Look at his face.
You went to the White House. We lost.
His face just went stone cold. So you can see he tried to laugh it off afterwards. And even, look, he doesn't have a laugh on his face. He tried.
Don't you think the media...
He's looking down. He's trying to find somewhere to hide. He did not like that. Well done digging this up. I can't believe this wasn't being passed around. I didn't see this clip. Damn, that last sentence hits hard. Yeah, that really got him right into the core there. I don't think it's so much about getting the deal, not getting the deal. It's getting humiliated. Mr. Banker here did not want to get humiliated in front of everyone. Speaking of Carney and getting a deal with America, what do we have here from Richard Diaz? Canada's crude oil exports to the U.S. continues to fall. Let's dispense of the theater of international trade deals and build more pipelines. Crude exports dropping here. So we can see 2025. This is a long graph here, but I mean, Carney basically got in like right here, and this is what we're getting. Yeah, not good for our country. We need to be building a pipeline like last week, like last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Nobody wants to invest in a province with separatist government. Look at this, the spinning of the narrative here. No, nobody wants to do business with British Columbia when we have Canadians' land being seized, and it's also blocking Canadian prosperity. Moving ahead, we got this with table salt. Says breaking analysis by TD has revealed that Canada makes up just 12.8% of the total foreign investment in the U.S. The U.S. makes up 45.5% of foreign investment in Canada. But yeah, let's keep poking them in the eye. I mean, that's just it. It doesn't matter how we feel about Trump. What matters is we have to get a deal. Otherwise, our citizens are going to struggle and suffer and have to sell their homes, go bankrupt. I mean, that's what we're seeing here. Canada is among the largest foreign direct investors in the US, United States is the largest foreign direct investor in Canada. So this is United States here, this green, and this is Canada down here, this. 12%, 45%. The rest is Europe, Asia, and other countries. The Liberals need to understand we have to work with America. So playing nice with Donald Trump is the only option here until we can diversify more. And we don't have the time to do that. We have to get a trade deal first. They seem to think elbows up doesn't matter because they don't have a job in the automotive industry or any other industry, seafood or agriculture, all the ones getting hammered. Moving ahead here with some of that fresh money coming from taxpayers. We've got David Cochrane campaigning hard for the Liberal Party of Canada on here. That's basically what this clip is. Melissa Lantzman trying her best to push back against Cochrane.
And bring forward the solutions that we've talked about. Getting rid of the industrial carbon tax, the excessive food packaging taxes that end up about $1 billion, which is passed down to the consumer, the fuel standard, which is 17 cents a litre on gas. Those things would actually reduce and reduce spending.
But, you know, there's a lot of economic analysis, and I'm looking at a report here from the TD Bank talking about why food inflation is higher here versus the United States. And there's a bunch of issues on specific things like meat is being affected by a drought from like 4 or 5 years ago. But the U.S. grows most of its own fruit and vegetables. We import more than half of our fruits and vegetables from the U.S. So the weak Canadian dollar, buying in U.S., selling in Canadian, these are reasons why it's higher here rather than deficit spending.
It doesn't account for why our food inflation is the highest. There are lots of other countries in the G7 that import much of their food, and we're 2 times higher.
Japan's is higher than ours, and the UK is
we're the highest. Our inflation growth is the highest in the G7 right now. So
good job. Stick it to him. David Cochrane trying his best. No, Japan is something else here. Let me check my fact sheet here.
It doesn't really account for why we are half or why ours is double the U.S. Like, we've got enough food to feed ourselves and feed the world. We've got farmers, we've got smart people. I think we're squandering our potential and our resources, and we want to bring solutions to the table. We've done that. We're going to do that tomorrow again with a motion in the House, and we hope that the government will take some of this and start to look at the factors that will reduce food costs in this country.
Right. I mean, the analysis from TD Bank and others, though, is like the blame for the government in food inflation over the past year would be the 25% retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Those affected things coming in. The currency is a challenge, transportation costs, the concentration of our grocery sector versus the U.S.
There was a gopher that farted over there once. That must have made the price of beef go up. Like, come on, Cochrane. This is ridiculous.
Lack of fruit and vegetable production here.
This is a minister who, again, summoned those CEOs. They said that they would increase competition. He said that food prices would stabilize by Thanksgiving 3 years ago. Here we are today. He's the finance minister. He's saying the exact same thing, making the exact same announcement. Actually, if you put the announcements sort of side by side with Prime Minister Trudeau and Prime Minister Carney, it almost looks like the same grocery store. No price tags behind them, and almost the same words on a failed policy the first time around. So it seems a big Groundhog Day, if you will, to do it again.
Suiting, Groundhog Day. I mean, what's next? David Cochrane's going to say there's a couple of wolves roaming the plain, scaring all the cows away. Is the stuff they make up here? Oh, there's something happened 5 years ago, so that's definitely affecting the price of beef now. Are they kidding? These guys are absolute thieves. The government just prints money, which devalues the money we have in the system already. As Pierre came out with 2 years ago, said you got 10 loaves of bread and you got $10. It's $1 a loaf, but once you increase the money supply to $20, each loaf of bread is $2. It's that simple. David Cochrane's favorite words when interrupting a conservative, but. Yeah. Jumping over to CTV here, we've got Pierre Poilievre's new campaign manager here, Steve Outhouse. He's giving us a bit of a window here into what he's changing up with Poilievre.
So let me ask you about that from a more theoretical perspective in a way, because I left the convention, particularly listening to the speech, kind of arriving at the thesis that there was a doubling down over the central message of the last election. You know, that line in the speech about, we've listened and we're not going to abandon our principles. Am I accurate in interpreting that means the central message, the central deliverer of the message in Pierre Poilievre will remain the same, but there will be some tinkering around the edges to address, getting over the hump? Is that the right interpretation from where you sit?
I think I guess I'm going to agree with a chunk of that. It's fair to say that, yes, abandoning your values very rarely pays off in politics. And if we're talking about values of making sure young Canadians can afford homes and that there's less food bank usage and that things are more affordable and that crime starts to drop, I don't think us pivoting away from that helps anybody but our opponents, frankly, in the upcoming election. But are there some things that we can do that build onto that and speak to, different age cohorts groups and different demographics. If there's some things that, they want to see from us, and tone, seems to be one, and that's fine. I mean, I'm very happy to show more facets of our leader. I do think he's a person with a great sense of humor and has, a great family, and he's a family person. And so I just think if that's what, pardon me, certain people want to see to make themselves more comfortable, then sorry about that. Then we're certainly happy to do that.
When you talk,
so when he says that, showing those facets to make people more comfortable, it's an emotional response, and everyone's different, but especially with a party that's already got a larger percentage of male voters, and we need to bring over more women. That's how you're going to do it. And that's why I keep saying that's what we need to be doing here. They need to show Pierre the father, Pierre the husband, Pierre being goofy, get him on a cooking show, get him just having some fun, throwing some flour around and just living life. He's not a politician all day, every day. It's only when he's being a politician, when he's at work. They need to see the real side of him. I'm very pleased to see that, because that's exactly what they're doing now. So here's a prime example people are talking about. This is absolute gold.
But hope is not just a comforting blanket. Hope is the knowledge that your work will fulfill your purpose, your why. He who has a why can bear any how. Viktor Frankl wrote in the great book, Man's Search for Meaning. That thing that you call meaning could be for you a home, a career, a family, a business. Seeing your autistic daughter speak for the first time is the thing. It's the thing.
Right? The real side of the guy. He's getting choked up because this is a real problem in his life. Finally, just getting to see his daughter speak. This attaches you heart to heart with the guy. Some voters, it'll be strictly policy. I mean, I get on board with a politician like Pierre Poilievre, strictly on policy, but some people, they got to go heart to heart. And you can see Anna here choking up too. See, he's not just a politician. He's a real guy living real life. This is how we win the next election, because they keep painting him as this bad guy, MAGA, this little Trump, whatever, all this stupid stuff, when it's a real guy who goes through real stuff just like everyone else. He's not a robot. He's not Donald Trump. He's not even close to Donald Trump. Taking this route, showing who he is, showing that emotional side, showing that he's a real person just like everyone else, tying Mark Carney to all the global elitists, tie him to Donald Trump. I mean, I had the collage of Donald Trump, Jared Kushner, Mark Carney, and obviously Donald Trump is here because this is the Queen Elizabeth 2019 visit of Trump being president of America, visiting the UK. But I mean, Mark Carney's been wrapped up with royalty for years. His brother manages Kensington Palace for William and Kate. Mark Carney's not a man of the people. He doesn't even know how much strawberries cost. Poilievre, on the other hand, this is a real Canadian, not the phony baloney type that we've got as our current prime minister.
That meaning is the thing that keeps people fighting on through hardship. People ask me, why? I keep going. The slings and arrows, they're the easy part. Constantly being away from family, that's the harder part.
And that's just it. People can relate to this stuff, whether it's a truck driver on the road, an oil rig worker, forestry worker, firefighter, or military. It doesn't matter. There's so many Canadians who have to be away from their family to make ends meet. This is very relatable, whether it's politician or firefighter or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. This is the right approach here. Steve Outhouse doing a great job here, pivoting the message here. This is going to work. I really like the speech here too, talking about your why, Viktor Frankl, all of that. 2 years ago, I gave up on life, and it was all of you, the Canadian people, that lifted me back up. And that's why it's my duty now to try to do as much as possible to save our country. We all get our why in a different way, but it all resonates the same. But jumping back to Steve Outhouse here, they're on the right track.
About tone, like I'll ask you in sort of a crass way, like you know what the pundit class is like, and you've seen the numbers. I'm sure you look at different polls where Mr. Poilievre's own personal popularity has gone down since the election in some instances, certainly since 2022, while Mr. Carney's, the Prime Minister, has gone up. Does Mr. Poilievre, in your view, need to be more likable?
So a few things. I mean, I think in general, politicians generally have a likability challenge, but I will say opposition leaders have a special challenge because their job is to get up every day and hold the government to account, and that by its very nature, it, has a contrast to it, and it's sort of something that can look a bit more negative. So I've seen that across the country when people see, and we saw that recently in Newfoundland and Labrador, the campaign I worked on. When Tony Wakeham was the opposition leader for quite a while, and it was, oh, why is he so negative? I mean, and that's not his personality, but that was the job he has to play. And so in this situation, I do think, again, if we can show other facets of Mr. Poilievre, when he connects with people, it's quite powerful, and he does have a sincere concern. And I think that's, again, back to that authenticity point. I mean, he is a fighter. He's fighting on these important issues for Canadians, and I don't think us moving away from that is going to help us.
This is so well said here, and I like this. This guy's a winner, and he's a winner in the right way. He took Tony Wakeham in the same situation where he's an opposition leader and blew out the competition. They did not expect that. The Liberals expected to win that election. They lost. And when he talks about Poilievre being a fighter, well, with being a fighter, you need to have the other aspect, and that wasn't being showcased before. With the fighter being strong and tough and pushing back, you need to have the heart, why the fighter is doing it. He's got a family at home. Like you see all those videos from WW2 where the man hugs his wife and his kids and goes off and they pray that he comes back home. There's that heart. The fighter's going off to war, but element of the heart is him coming home to his family. And that's why it's so emotional when he does come back and maybe he's missing a leg or maybe he saw horrible things, but he survived it. And while we're not talking about war here, it is fighting for the country. It is a war in itself. Liberals are not trying to help us at all. The phony baloney stuff, $12 billion of grocery rebates is just going to further increase inflation.
Concerned about, or maybe I'll put it more bluntly, do the Conservatives want an election?
Well, right now, it's not going to be up to us. We'll be ready for one. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line.
I mean, it could be at some point, right? In a minority government, it could be up to the opposition parties if they decide. But at this, I'm talking from a strategic point of view. I know other stuff will happen in Parliament, but if...
So listen to this very carefully. So Vasi is trying to turn this around. Well, this could be the opposition doing this. You guys could bring, and she's right, they could. Is this a talking point she's given to push out? Because if the opposition brings down the government and the government's trying to help Canada with the grocery rebates, it makes opposition look bad. Just look how he handles this. This guy knows what he's doing.
If it were up to you, would you be going to the polls now or later, given what the
I mean, generally, less than a year after an election, that's not really a time to go have another election unless there's things that, require that to do. I think the Liberals right now, that looks appealing to them for a whole bunch of reasons, and I'm happy to expand on that, but I'll stick with your question. So for us, we're happy to work in Parliament and get some things done and get results for Canadians and help the government actually advance their agenda and move from rhetoric to results, as has been said, and that's going to be our focus. But if it happens and an election is forced, we'll be ready.
Are you worried?
You notice there, he said, I can expand on that, but I'm not going to derail the question here. It's very honest because usually that's what you'd see, like Francois-Philippe Champagne is a king of that. He'll start to answer the question and then just completely derail it another direction and not answer the question. And as he said there, this is going to be on the Liberals if they're going to take down the government. They want to make sure that it's on the Liberals who are given this mandate that has achieved nothing, because if they take down the government, then Liberals say, oh, we were just about to build Canada strong. Trust us, we were almost there. With this talk on election, Jasmine digging this up, we've got 3 Liberal ridings that are currently hiring for Elections Canada, and they're all posted the same day or one day apart. And so she's posted the ridings here as well. 3 Liberal ridings here. We've got Thunder Bay. Last I checked, Patty Haiju did not step down. There's no by-election there. Chris D'Entremont, well, there should be a by-election there. And this guy here, John Zuccarelli, no by-election there either. But we can see here, Federal Returning Officer Elections Canada, 18 days ago, 19 days ago, and 19 days ago. The same thing. They're gearing up for an election, as I predicted before. I think Carney's going to call it right at the beginning of April, maybe going into May, but probably earlier, because he doesn't want to let Heather McPherson, who will most likely win the NDP leadership race, get any sort of steam and take back power from Carney. He wants to call it right away to quell that, but I don't think he's going to call it beforehand. Otherwise, he looks like a complete jerk, but who knows? I mean, he is a jerk, so he might do that. Who knows?